Russ, also known as Russ Vitality, is the biggest and most successful independent artist that has ever existed in the music industry. Whether you hate him or you love him, the one thing you cannot deny is his success. Nonetheless, there is still a huge amount of skeptics that question and dislike the overall brand of Russ.
You know, the most productive shit you can do with a woman or with anyone in general in life is mentally fuck the shit out of them and put them onto some new wavelengths and new material knowledge-wise so they can use it to make their life better. Oh!
This is what a dumb person says.
Matter of fact, through the majority of his career, he was met with a ton of hate and backlash for his controversial hot takes on hip-hop, culture, and the overall toxic nature of the music industry. People are now realizing that a lot of the things that he was saying at the time had a lot of truth to them. But the biggest reason for the initial pushback was because people simply did not know who he was, and his rise to fame was so unbelievable that people simply refused to believe it.
They say you're an industry plant.
You know why they say that though? Is because, I always say it too, because the come up is actually unbelievable, so you don't believe it.
Russ constantly tried to tell them that his whole come up was documented, and all they had to do was simply scroll down on his Instagram.
All my stuff is documented. You can scroll down. I always encourage people, like, if you want to get the Carfax on me, scroll down. You can
75.
scroll all the way down my Instagram and go find the very first show I did as far as a tour.
Go on my Instagram and scroll all the way down. I have all my show videos. You can go all the way down and see the Glasgow show. You can scroll down on Instagram and see me do 80 people in Glasgow.
But the narratives of him being an industry plant still persisted.
The latest thing I saw was that your dad ran some marketing company and you were an industry plant.
The accusation was that you're an industry plant.
Actually saying he's a plant, right? He's an industry plant.
I'm an industry plant when I literally have songs called Exposed where I'm exposing industry plants.
And it seemed like no matter what he did, people would still not give him his credit. This is why I decided to not only scroll down through his Instagram, but also collect every interview, every podcast, every picture, video, song, music video, book, article, tweet, and basically every piece of content that has ever existed about Russ on the internet in order to make the ultimate Russ documentary about his rise to fame. A documentary that will not only serve as evidence to prove his legitimacy in the rap game, but also as a blueprint for the millions of up-and-coming artists in the world that can gain from studying the come-up of one of the most determined and hardest-working artists to ever set foot in this music business. This documentary took me over 100 hours to make and required me to go through over 50 hours of interviews and about 50 pages of articles, not to mention re-listening to every Russ song that Russ has ever made and reading his book, It's All in Your Head. A very good book, by the way, I strongly recommend it. Nonetheless, through laborious research, I was able to find the most exclusive stories and pieces of footage that even the most hardcore Russ fan will have never heard about or seen before. So I really hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, I present to you the Russ Blueprint, how a SoundCloud rapper from Atlanta revolutionized the music industry. So in order to understand Russ, I'm gonna have to take you back to where it all started, in 2006. This chapter is called The Bug.
I feel like the bug bit me when I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
So Russ grew up in a very musical family, with his dad being heavy into music. There was always music in his house, from Bee Gees to Mamas and Papas to classic rock even.
My parents would have like Earth, Wind & Fire playing and Mamas and Papas and Journey and Led Zeppelin and classic rock, ABBA, Kansas, and just like dance around. There was always music in the house.
Russ credits his grandfather Pop Up for introducing him to creating music.
He always had his guitar with him and I was always fascinated to watch him play. It was just a matter of time before I picked it up and tried to play myself. He taught me a chord or two and I was hooked. For my 14th birthday, he got me a guitar.
Do you remember your last conversation with him?
Yeah.
What was that like, man?
Screwed up. One of the last things he told me was, "You look super cool. Like, promise me you'll come back and see me and play guitar with me." So like, I always like regret that, but
oh man.
Yeah.
And this melodically inclined introduction to music would later push him to discover Eminem and then 50 Cent, and the beats he heard from Dr. Dre and Scott Storch would introduce him to the magnificent world of music production.
50 and Eminem were surprisingly a natural segue because it was always really heavy melody. 50's one of the most melodic rappers. Yeah. Eminem's one of the most melodic rappers. And I remember writing raps from the perspective that I was from Queens, just because like 50 was my favorite. So Dr. Dre and like Storch are why I started making beats musically.
So like many of us who grew up with a Mac, he initially started making beats on GarageBand. He then started uploading his beats on YouTube under the moniker DJ Ripley.
I found like a beat that you posted on YouTube like 13 years ago.
When I was first making beats, I was going by DJ Ripley.
I was gonna ask you how you came up with the name DJ Ripley.
Remember the show Ripley's Believe It or Not? I was just this little white kid in high school in 2006 making beats.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, believe it or not, I'm making beats.
Look at Russ hustling right now with all these tags. Look at all these keywords. I was gonna
so bad. Those are like my first beats. Oh man. I remember being in fucking high school, like just thinking that those beats were the shit.
Then one day after school, Russ's best friend Boogus accidentally heard Russ's beats through a mutual friend that they had. And Boogus was so shocked about how good the beats were, and he couldn't believe that Russ had actually made it.
I walk into English class one day in about 10th grade. I walk in and he tapped me on my shoulder and he was like, "Yo, check this out." He put a headphone in my ear and it's a beat.
No, actually, no. Some other kid named Alex put headphones in my ear and was like, "Yo, Russ made this beat." And I was like, "That's Russ? Like our Russ? Like Russ we know?" And he was like, "Yeah."
At this time, Boogus wasn't rapping yet, but he connected Russ with a friend that he knew that could rap. And Russ started recording him on a Rock Band microphone he had at home.
Boogus hears that I've been making beats and he's like, "Oh, I have friends that rap."
I had a friend who was a rapper already, and I was like, we all had the same lunch period. So I'm like, I'm gonna introduce y'all at lunch. You produce, he raps, you put it together.
And so Boogus is bringing those people over to my parents' house. We have this janky setup of like
GarageBand type mic, a mic stand that was a camera tripod.
We made a pop filter out of a wire hanger and pantyhose that my mom gave us. And then we put that in the closet and powered everything with the guitar amp.
They quickly formed a group called TSG, which stands for True Squad Generals.
True Squad Generals, no room for soldiers.
Russ like printed out a bunch of shirts for TSG one day and came to school with them and just passed them all out in the parking lot.
We had like a little clique in high school, like a little rap group. We like made t-shirts and shit.
I made t-shirts for our senior class and handed them out from the back of my 97 Nissan after school while blasting our very mediocre songs.
This next chapter is the birth of Demon. Russ and Boogus were both in their senior year of high school, and at this point, Boogus had been recording for over a year now, and he had been making songs for a long enough period of time to know that this is what he really wanted to do with his life.
I did that for like a year, and then I was like, nah, I really want to take it seriously, so I went down to Guitar Center, got a laptop, got a microphone, got some speakers.
January 1st, 2010, the exact date is when Boogus got the equipment in his basement. It was my second semester senior year of high school.
How much did he spend on the equipment?
It was a $2,500 setup, which is a lot of money.
This allowed Boogus and Russ to actually start building in Boogus's basement an actual professional studio. This legendary basement studio is soon what Russ will refer to as the Stakeout.
We covered the entire wall of his basement with magazine cutouts of rappers and various music industry icons. It was a stakeout.
There were magazines and posters everywhere of their favorite artists. They used those pictures as vision boards to be reminded on the daily of the goals that they wanted to achieve. This is also where he later shot the legendary video for Too Many, which now has 71 million views on YouTube. A couple months passed and they now had graduated from high school and had a bunch of free time on their hands. So they took advantage of the studio Boogus had built in the basement, and they spent the whole summer making music. Boogus, studying Jay-Z and Diddy, wanted to have some sort of digital brand that would encompass everything that they would do in music. And this sparked the creation of Diamond, which stands for Do It Every Day, Music or Nothing. And the idea for the name came from the fact that they were really doing music every day.
The reason why we started Diamond was because, one, we need to have our own website. We need to have our own kind of like
brand in a sense.
Our own brand, yeah. We need our own thing. So we're just chilling in the basement one day, and it just kind of hit me. I was like, holy shit, do it every day, music or nothing. That's like we could like create something out of that.
Then Boogus came up with that name when we were like 17, and it just felt so authentic.
We graduated high school and created Diamond. Do it every day, music or nothing. And that's what we did. We made music every day.
After the summer, Russ and Boogus proceeded to go their separate ways. So Russ went to attend Valdosta State, and Boogus went to Morehouse, the HBCU. Then, in November 22, 2010, Kanye had just dropped his infamous album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and it completely changed Russ's life.
Kanye dropped Twisted Fantasy my first semester of college.
I remember being in my dorm by myself, and I remember literally I was actually so amazed by the quality of the music and how good it was that like I was practically crying tears of joy. Right there in that moment, I was like, I have to do this because I have to achieve that feeling for myself. I know I can do this.
After hearing that album, Russ knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to make music. So he basically stopped going to class, sold all his books, and he was just smoking weed and making beats in his dorm. I don't know what happened directly after, but I do know that he ended up transferring to a community college that was closer to his hometown in Atlanta.
So this next chapter is called College Dropout. So at this point, Boogus and Russ are weirdly enough already developing a fan base. I found a clip of Russ performing at his first ever show in Kansas State, where he already had a fan named Nick Everett with a demon tattoo on him.
One of his name is Nick Everett. But it's this dude from Tennessee. Yeah, he was the first one to get like the logo tattooed on him. He was at every show.
And like we refer to like certain diehard fans just, oh yeah, that's another Nick Everett. He had the tattoo already, like, and he's still a huge fan.
First Russ concert was at Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, I brought 2 or 3 homies there. Showed up, there was like barely anybody in the crowd, and I was out there just fucking going as hard as I could for him. And that was the first time I ever actually met him. And then afterwards, he's like, come back to the crib. And so I came back. He bought me Jimmy John, so we just got messed up and had a good time.
On top of that, I found a video of 2 girls named Courtney and Tiffany that talk about how they went to high school with Boogus and how much they are a fan of his music.
So I thought the first person that we should cover is none other than, you might all know him, his name is Boogus. He has an amazing team behind him too, and that's amazing as well. And their names are Russell Vitale, he's the producer. We see him doing big things in the future, don't you think? Yes, he's only gonna be huge. It's gonna be massive. And we're just gonna be
At this time, Russ and Boogus used to throw concerts at frat parties across Atlanta. And a couple months later, these same 2 girls from the video that I just showed you ended up interviewing Russ and Boogus after one of their shows.
Alright, Boogus, Russell, get over here. Come on over. Hello, guys. Nothing. Alright, so Boogus, tell us about your first exposure to rap. Who was the first artist that you know connected with you? Lil Wayne. Alright, Russell?
My favorite producer?
Yes.
My favorite is Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Kanye, he's a genius.
He is a genius.
He's a genius.
Then, a month later, on April 15, 2011, Russ and Boogus go to LA for spring break to film a music video for a song that Boogus had called Cali. When they got back from their field trip to LA, Boogus just kept on harassing Rob Markman on Twitter. And Rob Markman is someone that worked at MTV. And then on November 12, 2011, they ended up being featured on television through MTV's Get in the Game series.
We went to California on spring break. It was my first time in California. Boogus is from LA. And we were going out there to shoot a video for him. Like, we shot his song Cali, and I think like a couple months later, he was spamming Rob Markman on Twitter. Or spamming him on Twitter with the video. Talking shit to him, like talking shit about 2K, like video game, just trying to get attention. Long story short, Rob Markman ends up responding, and like he puts us on MTV on this segment they used to have called Get in the Game.
Give it up for Boogus, ladies and gentlemen. First time on MTV, baby. You on MTV, baby.
What up, Sway? What's good, man? This is crazy.
What's good?
What's up? Who's that next to you? It's my producer, Russ. He makes all my beats.
What's up?
What's up, Russ?
Chillin', man. What's good?
Yo, it's my dog, Russ, right there.
So this huge accomplishment finally gave Russ the motivation to drop out of community college and fully commit to music. His mom, as you can believe, was really upset about this, so she made him sign a contract that said that if he wasn't financially independent by a certain date, he would have to go back to school.
I dropped out and my mom was like sick about it.
She was upset for like a long time. Yeah, she made me sign a piece of paper.
Wait, what did the paper say?
That says by this date, if you're not self-sufficient off of music, you got to go back to school. And I was like, absolutely, I'll be self-sufficient before that. You know?
Russ actually dropped out to just make beats. He wasn't even rapping at this time. But one day during a session with Boogus, Russ turned around and asked Boogus if he thinks that he should start rapping. And Boogus immediately said without any hesitation, yeah, let's do it.
I remember just one time in the basement, it's like a pivotal moment where I was on the mic because I was like about to do a hook.
And I remember turning around to Boogus. I was in the like booth, which was really just underneath the staircase. So I turned around and asked Boogus, yo, should I start rapping? And he instantly just said, hell yeah, do that shit.
That was all I needed, you know, because like if I believed in it and if Boogus believed in it, that was enough for me. And
that was it. That was the
conversation.
That was it. That was the turn.
And since then, it was over it. So Russ started rapping, and a couple months later, on December 2011, he dropped his first ever mixtape, Velvet. And it was pretty much all rapping from there.
Feeling like it's go time, I'm 19, it's showtime. I might scream if your lines get my cream. I'll go find a pipe dream, cause I don't really think you're fucking with me. I'm talking to the whole world, you ain't fucking with me. So sit tight, make sure you got your grip right.
Alright, so this next chapter is called the mixtape era. So from the year 2011 to 2014, Russ will consecutively drop an album, or mixtape actually, every 3 months, summing it up to 11 mixtapes by the end of 2014.
By 2014, I dropped 11 mixtapes. All self-produced everything, right?
God damn it.
All self-produced, mix, master, engineer, everything.
Nah, but for people that don't know the journey, man, like 11 projects independently.
In a span of 2 years. More 11. Velvet, Apollo 13, Straight from Limbo, 5280, Vacation, The Edge, Colorblind, Pink Elephant, Brain Dead, Silence, How to Rock.
However, at the end of those 11 mixtapes, nothing seemed to have happened for him. He was still sitting at 1,000 followers, and he had no real fan base.
So how many views were you getting like year one?
Those didn't get shit.
Like after 11 projects, there was really no traction.
Like I put it out and I didn't blow up. I didn't get any like crazy fans.
I was sitting in the basement with 800 followers still.
Now, although Russ's music wasn't blowing up yet, 2014 marked the start of multiple victories pouring into Russ's career.
And then you finally start seeing these results.
On February 11th, 2014, Russ drops the Goodbye music video after going to LA with Boogus, and this song will later become the first hit song of Russ's career.
My song Goodbye from 2014 was the first one that like spiked a little bit.
I cracked my windshield, lucky that I didn't crack you. And I'm feeling drunk in this hotel room trying to ask you.
Then later on August 9, 2014, Russ has his first ever headlining show in front of a group of high school kids.
My first ever headline show is in Tumwater, Washington for like 50 high school kids.
Let me tell you this crazy story, right? This is August or September of 2014 when I had 600 followers.
I had some kids in Tumwater, Washington.
And I remember getting on the phone with one of the fans.
They were like, man, we love your shit, and my uncle is a promoter, and like you can do a show out here.
And I was like, beautiful. I was like, let's do it.
And my friends came out with me. I think they paid for their own shit. They figured it out.
We stayed in that kid's house. Like, he was living with his mom. Obviously, he's in high school. We stayed at his house. It was dope. It was like 48 people. And it was like, but it was amazing to me to see what could happen if just like, you know, a unit of people come together and just demand something.
Then a bit later on August 18, 2014, he drops his 11th and last mixtape entitled How to Rob, where he basically raps over instrumentals from his favorite artist. Out of that mixtape emerged songs like T-Pain that now has 26 million views on YouTube.
And I saw you, whoa. Girl, ever since I found you, I don't hear them other bitches cause they so. I'ma take you to an island. All I really need is timing.
A
couple weeks later in September, he links up with the legendary designer and creative Kid Super, who offers to direct the music video for him and also offers them a place to stay and record in New York City.
I was staying at Kid Super's basement up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
I bring Russ to the store. Russ sees the recording studio. He's like, wow, this is an amazing vibe. He ended up staying 4 to 5 to 6 months on and off.
I would stay here for like weeks on end. I would just stay in the basement.
Me and Russ were spending every second of our lives together.
This is the guitar I did the Cherry Hill shit on.
And where'd you sleep?
Right here. This is it. Mad nights spent on this couch.
Then after that, to top all of that, from October to December of that year, Goodbye starts blowing up on YouTube, and by December, it has amassed 100,000 views. This made Russ realize that he was starting to get really good at making music, and that his music was good enough to blow up. But he just needed to switch his approach of delivering music. And this led to the revolutionary idea to start dropping a song a week.
I put out this mixtape called Pink Elephant, which had a song called Goodbye on it. And I remember at that time really confidently feeling like the music was ready.
So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I know the music's good, but like this approach has not done shit for me. And I realized like people are not trying to hear an album from someone they don't know
and someone that no one else told them to listen to. You know, it got to be the end of 2014, and I was looking at SoundCloud.
At that time, SoundCloud was still, to me at least, it was new.
I strayed away from SoundCloud
because I just didn't like how it looked.
I didn't like the aesthetic of it.
But I was like, you know what? Let me like study it.
And I noticed people on SoundCloud putting up their albums on there.
And I kind of realized I noticed a trend.
Everyone's first song on their album was getting the most plays. And then it would go down from there.
So I studied that and I was like, oh, what this tells me about consumer behavior is that everyone is down to listen to one song.
It's that second song that gets a little like tricky.
So we were like, you know what? We're just gonna drop each song one by one and treat every song we make as the first song.
I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna put out one song albums every week.
I'm gonna drop one song albums every week.
A one song album every week.
What if I drop one song albums every week? What if I just drop one song albums every week? I'm gonna put out one song albums every week until I blow up.
And so then I just started rolling out a song a week.
And the mentality was like, I'm just gonna flood the internet. Let me put out singles that will single-handedly get their attention, and then I'll give them the album.
Now, but I also, I strategize this because I was like, I'm not about to just put out a song a week and be scrambling every day to record a song. I made sure before I even dropped that first song that I had 25 songs.
Because I'm like, I don't want to blow up and then have to scramble and make some shit. I want to blow up and easily be able to capitalize.
So I wasn't like making one, dropping one, making one, dropping one. I was always, 25 steps ahead. I want to be half a year ahead of y'all. Because when you think it's the 25th week in a row, Russ, damn, you must be slowing up. Nah, I've been at 26. I got another 26.
That's how I came up with the song a week approach.
And this brings us to our next chapter, which begins in 2015, the SoundCloud era. So at this point, Russ was making $400 a month off of his TuneCore catalog. And from the beginning of Russ starting to drop a song a week, he will start to notice a few wins, like getting his song Whole Love played on Seattle radio on February 9th, 2015.
Hey, me. 1, 2. That goes out to the homie right there, Russ, one of our favorites. And definitely an emerging artist to keep your eye on. Good people.
And also getting his first SoundCloud song with over 10,000 plays, with his song Willy Wonka, which will also end up being featured on the radio.
Shout out to the homie Russ, Paulina, and Jaffe. It's a brand new one called Willy Wonka. Once again, shout out to my boy Russ. Yeah.
Hey! Hey! What? I'm like, what?
Then fast forward to July 2015, and Russ's catalog composed of new hit songs like 99, Brooklyn Freestyle, and of course Too Many, is starting to generate him some decent money. And around the same time, Russ also links up with his now manager for the first time in Toronto. And Russ made it clear to him that the only way that he would accept having a manager would be if and only if he would be able to connect him with Kara Lewis as his booking agent.
I reached out to Russ.
He was just one of the people on the internet who heard my shit, sent an email.
And I'd flown him. I was living in Toronto at the time. I'd flown him to Toronto.
I think he flies me out to Toronto
to get in the studio and just kind of meet with me and hang out with me for a weekend. So he didn't like titles. He had technically trust issues at the beginning. And there was times where we had butt heads on a couple things because he had he had wanted things at the time that he thought were important.
I remember just always telling him, because I studied the game, I was like, I need a booking agent.
I want a booking agent, which is the ones who get you shows and tours, like.
And so I told him, I was like, bro, I'm not talking to you until you get me Kara Lewis. You want to manage me? Get me Kara Lewis.
I knew I needed Kara Lewis. I want Kara Lewis.
Who does? You don't know who Kara Lewis is? She's a booking agent, like legend. She did fucking Kanye, she did Up in Smoke tour, you know what I'm saying? Like Eminem, yay, like it's crazy. Okay.
And a few months later, I'm not talking about Toy Story, but Russ is starting to get some serious buzz. And at this point, Russ is sitting at around 4,000 followers on Instagram and is making around $2,000 a month. And he can feel that he's about to pop at any moment. So to finally make the bucket tip over, Russ will consecutively drop 2 songs that will drastically change the course of his career. Pull the Trigger and What They Want.
The fourth quarter of 2015, I put out 4 songs pretty close to each other. It was that summer where I dropped Losing Control, What They Want, Pull the Trigger, Do It Myself. That's triple, double, gold. You feel me? So these are songs that are now have sold over 8 million, 9 million records. So
then a month later, in September 2015, his manager Milan Akerman manages to connect Russ with the infamous booking agent, Kara Lewis.
And so, lo and behold, like, it was September 2015.
That was September, I still remember the date, September 1st, 2015. So I'm in a layover in Charlotte. Milan calls me after not talking for a couple months, ever since like the weird little fallout. And he's like, yo, I got you a meeting with Kara Lewis, but it's today in New York at 4:30. Right. I'm like, I'm in a layover in Charlotte on the way to New York. So I land in New York, I go to Kara Lewis's office with my bags.
I go in there and I meet her. And I left the meeting and it was fucking amazing. I got to put like her email link in my bio where it's like, for booking, check my bio, and it got to be Kara Lewis. And I remember calling Boogus like, yo, like, peep my Instagram bio.
Around this time, Russ is making $3,000 a month. Now, although all these things were starting to happen for us in his professional career, things were not looking good at home. And his family was experiencing some serious financial troubles, making Russ, who just started to make money, the breadwinner for his entire family.
You're a kid.
Right.
How aware were you of your family's, like, any troubles?
Not that, and I'll give a lot of credit to them. It was way more fucked up than they let on. We kept downsizing. And that's when it got like real, like when your dad's asking you for gas money. So I remember moving to that house 2015, but this is gonna be the house that I blew up in. I remember saying that on the sidewalk when we pulled to the house with my mom. I remember saying it. But luckily, the music, that was right when my music started to actually be making money. So then my music kind of like, the ship was sinking. I have an old song called Titanic because the ship was sinking, and then the music perfectly started making money at the right time.
My parents in shambles, cause lack of financials. They've been late on car notes, every dollar borrowed. They've been back and forth, yeah, leaving is an option. Rent, but speaking of rent, I think we about to lose the house. Think they repoing the cars, think we gotta sell the couch. Think they cutting off the lights, think they turning off the water. And I'm still turning down every single label off.
But just when things were starting to seem hopeless for us, little did he know that the following year would become the biggest year of his career. The year where he finally blows up. Which brings us to our final and last chapter, There's Really a Wolf. At this point, Russ was making $16,000 a month, and his song Losing Control, which he had dropped a couple months before, and What They Want were, no pun intended, but losing control on SoundCloud. So Russ started getting the attention of multiple people in the music industry, with one of them being the legendary director Edgar Esteves, who DM'd Russ praising him for the quality of his music and offering to shoot all of his music videos absolutely for free.
I was on the web and I came across, Russ.
I was minding my business. I get a DM.
I hit him up on an Insta DM.
And he just goes,
I want to shoot all your music videos.
In all caps.
Every song you have. And he hit me back and he's like, bro, of course.
Edgar had 40,000 followers on the gram. I had 7,000 followers on Instagram. I had never worked with a director before that was like lit.
So I click on his Instagram and I'm scrolling down. I'm like, whoa, like
his shit looks hella professional. I'm like,
he was like, damn, like how the fuck is this guy who does all these videos for these people want to fuck with me?
It was like a blessing fell out of the sky.
Then on February and May respectfully of that year is when the music video for Losing Control and What They Want were posted on YouTube. And this perfect storm of an already popping song on SoundCloud mixed with amazing visuals from one of the best videographers in the game made this song go absolutely crazy on YouTube.
So then in fucking January,
I go down to Miami.
I bought him a plane ticket to Miami.
We shoot Losing Control, like in a parking lot.
Edgar shot Losing Control for free,
which is not that expensive.
And then with the What They Want video, I flew him and one of his friends to Atlanta.
I don't know if anyone even knows this because people always ask, like, where did you shoot
the What They Want video? Because they see the leaves are pink. We drove to Callaway Gardens, right?
We shot a whole fucking video.
I was wearing all white. I had like a glass of wine.
He was dressed in all white. He had a glass of wine, and we're like, yo, this is kind of whack.
And we were like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
So as we're driving back through a botanical garden in Atlanta, I see this shed.
And we were just like, you know what?
Yo, this just looks epic.
Let me change outfits. Let's go to this cabin and just fucking turn up for like 45 minutes.
The What They Want video is actually us filming in
45 minutes because it started to rain.
And in post-production,
Edgar just turned all the leaves and shit pink.
And then I was like, how can I make it different? And then in the editing process, that's when I made the leaves infrared. And then next thing you know, that's kind of like what set the video off.
And that was the What They Want video. And that shit has like 300 million views and is 3 times platinum.
Because at the end of the day, when you have a song that the fan base is clearly gravitating towards more than anything else, put the right video to it and you're out of here.
At this moment, Russ is making more money than he's ever made in his life, making $73,000 a month, with Losing Control and What They Want charting at number 62 and number 83 on Billboard, respectively, each of them garnering over 400 million views on YouTube. This moment, ladies and gentlemen, is when Russ officially blew up.
Really let us in the motherfucking rap game. Are we filming? Because this
yes, we're filming.
This episode, hip-hop superstar Russ is in the building.
Shout out to Russ in the building.
Our special guest today is Russ.
Mr. Russ.
You got Rosenberg and Russ.
My man, Russ.
Russ, what's happening, man?
What's up, son?
Yo, Russ is here. Cruise show.
Hot 97, you made it, Russ.
Russ in the neighborhood.
Changing the game.
Changing the game is something that Russ is doing.
This is one of the most remarkable, amazing stories in hip hop.
Wow.
We're talking about one other than Russ. Make some motherfucking noise!
I can't open my Instagram feed without seeing
Russ. How you feeling, man?
Life is surreal.
I mean,
I think it's like shocking. I think everyone is still kind of in shock. There's a lot of moments where, like, on stage, I'll just kind of stand there and look at everything. Like, this is
sold out shows.
Yeah, it's like, this is unbelievable.
But yeah, what has been like your craziest groupie story? Like someone popping up at a hotel?
You know, there was a situation it involved 2 sisters and a jacuzzi.
Then later on in June, I'm not talking about a baker when I say that Russ is officially caking off of his TuneCore catalog, bringing home a whopping $102,000 a month. However, he still felt like he wasn't getting as much exposure as he would have liked in the music industry.
So on June 23rd, 2016, in order to level up the playing field, he decides to sign to Columbia Records for a profit split deal while maintaining full ownership of his masters and his entire SoundCloud catalog.
When did Columbia come in? Columbia came in June of 2016. How did that happen?
It would all kind of happen nicely because right when the team got assembled, it was like labels are coming in.
All the labels were reaching out.
Labels were flying out to certain shows.
I started taking meetings.
I liked the fact that they liked what was going on, but I wasn't like, oh my God, yes, finally I can get signed.
I just didn't want to sign with the label until I had leverage.
And I created all this leverage because shit was going crazy. I was already touring. I was making $100,000 a month before the label. A lot of people are like, well, why would you get with the label? Everything you preach about, why would you get with the label?
Why did you sign a record deal?
I wanted radio. That was the main reason.
I was looking around at all my favorite artists and I'm like,
well, everyone's on the radio. And I'm listening to everyone on radio. I'm like, they're all signed.
Everyone has a label. Everyone has a connection.
I don't have industry connections. I didn't have a connection to the radio. I didn't have a connection to this show.
So I was like, all right, I need to level the playing field.
So I got with the label
because it was like, yo, I have songs that I want to go to that next level.
It just needs to get the button pushed on it.
What was the deciding factor of choosing Columbia then?
I feel like Columbia understood my vision the most, and I feel like they believed in it the most. And
a lot of the other labels, they had so many other rappers, and I was like, I just feel like I'm not gonna get prioritized.
But yeah, so like June or July of 2016 is when I partnered with Columbia.
When you did the deal with Columbia, were you 100% on board?
It was a great experience because I got a good deal because I had leverage.
And the deal was very, very epic.
Because you got a sweet ass deal with Columbia.
It was a fucking multi-million-dollar deal. Like, I became a millionaire.
I got a profit split. I got a 50-50 deal.
Which was like rare at the time. Most new artists, it's a royalty rate deal. They didn't own my masters. And the big piece was my back catalog that was on TuneCore. They didn't touch.
TuneCore is my own independent catalog where I still have 200 plus songs that the label doesn't touch because I had that shit out before that.
And everything I did with Columbia was, y'all get 50, I get 50.
Why? Because I came into the deal making 100 racks a month off my music.
So out of my 300 songs, you're getting 10. Wow. So how much of a signing did I sign?
And then to top all of this off, in May of the following year, the day that Russ has been dreaming about ever since he was a kid making beats in his mom's basement is finally here. And he will finally get to release his debut album, There's Really a Wolf. Hand-painted by his friend, Genius, and Day One supporter Kid Super. And the name of his album came from the fact that he had been telling people for so many years that he was gonna blow up. And nobody believed him. Kind of like the story of the boy who cried wolf. So when he finally blew up, he felt like the perfect thing to name his album would be There's Really a Wolf.
Explain the title again for the album, people that don't know again.
Yeah, There's Really a Wolf, bro. It's kind of just it stems from the boy who cried wolf thing, which is like...
The wolf represents success and me blowing up. I was constantly the boy crying wolf to everyone, telling everyone I was gonna blow up, telling everyone the next song, next album, next video was gonna blow up. And it would never happen, so now that it's happened, it's like, oh fuck, There's Really a Wolf.
Doing the debut album was sort of like the plot point one. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm here for real.
Were you afraid of putting that first project out?
I was really excited because I felt like, okay, finally now it's time.
That debut album is like one of the most commercially successful debut albums ever. I produced it, obviously did the whole thing. Like, that shit is crazy.
The album that came out, what's impressive to me is you've got no collabs on this.
I wanted to do that for the first album and prove that I could do everything myself and be successful and get a plaque and all the, whatever.
It was also kind of how it went. I made that album over the course of coming up.
It was just like all of the best songs on my computer on one album.
So a song on there called Cherry Hill, I made in 2015.
The whole album, you get kind of a taste of before the wolf appears, just me crying wolf, kind of a taste of it starting to appear and a little taste of it being here. So
once this shit comes out in a minute, life is never gonna be the same. I want to tell you guys I love you guys. Hell yeah. And everything is gonna be fucking different.
Now I'm fresh up in the game, and I already went gold. Cause I gave them what they want, now they losing control. I didn't do it myself, pull the trigger on my dreams, always put it this way. I walk in on 10, I'm gassed up, mix that with the hand. I act up, think I say amen. I'm racked up, no we can't be friends. Just back up, I walk in on 10. Gassed up, mix that with the hand. I act up,
Since blowing up, Russ has now become an artist with 14 platinum plaques, 10 appearances on Billboard, and his 14 million Spotify monthly listeners allowed him to garner almost 1 billion streams last year. And on top of having a cumulative social media following of 19.9 million across all platforms, he was also named on Forbes' 2019 30 Under 30 list after grossing over $15 million in a year. And he has worked with and gotten praise from the biggest artists and celebrities in the world, working with Ed Sheeran, Rick Ross, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Scott Storch, DJ Premier, The Alchemist, Boy Wonder, Illmind, Ty Dolla $ign, Kalani, Jessie Reyes, and Big Sean, while also getting huge cosigns from Rihanna, Kylie Jenner, Kanye West, and Eminem. And as if all this wasn't enough, his diehard and global fanbase makes Russ one of the most successful international touring artists in the world, allowing him to break touring records like becoming the first ever artist to perform in the pyramids of Egypt. Anyways, all this to show you that Russ's success didn't come from him being signed to a major label, and it most certainly did not from his dad working at a record label. It came from his unwavering relentlessness and his unshakable belief in himself. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you were able to extract some sort of value from this documentary. And if Russ's journey can teach us anything about that, is that if a 14-year-old white kid can go from making beats on GarageBand in his mom's basement to becoming one of the biggest and most impactful artists on the planet, then anything is possible. And just like Russ would say, it's all in your head. Peace.
I've reached the ever so unfortunate days where the chicken starts tasting like chicken. Where do I start? Like, what am I supposed to say? It's a lot. It just is what it is. Just a reminder, in case anyone has forgotten, people are dumb. Don't do that to me, okay? Look, I know the doggy makes her kitty meows a little corny, but I thought